KBLA Talk 1580.
3, possibly 4 weeks ago, I heard an advertisement on your radio station from a company called Grid Solar. I would love to have that phone number so I can reach out to them with reference to solar panels being installed on my property.
Our listeners are aware and engaged, but more than that, they are loyal. When they hear empowering messages that uplift their community and help them live better lives, they respond. No medium reaches this coveted black audience like KBLA Talk 1580. So, hit us up today at smb@kbla1580.com and let us help you connect with our loyal listeners. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Money to bud.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss it. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Today we're going to talk about trauma triggers, since these can sneak up on us. They can be upsetting and often ruin our days. Before we jump into that, I want to let you know that my book Traumatized is available for pre-order right now. In this book, I dig into what trauma is, how it can feel, and ways that we can heal from it. It's my hope that this helps answer any questions or concerns that you may have about PTSD and offers tangible options for healing and growth. So click the link at the top of the description to pre-order yours now. Isn't she pretty? I'm so excited. I hope you love it. Most of us are aware of the larger trauma triggers. We can recognize some of the people, places, and things that harmed us and do our best to avoid them all. For example, if our trauma had something to do with the beach, we can avoid any area with sand or sounds of the beach. We can sit down with our therapist and make a list of all the things that we know trigger our trauma response or bring us back into those frightening events. But what about the unconscious triggers, the ones that maybe we don't recognize and often find upsetting us or pulling us into flashbacks and causing us to dissociate? Those are the ones that I want to talk about today. The unconscious trauma triggers, and how we can identify them so that they no longer harm us. We are constantly taking in our environment, the sounds, the scents, how the outside air feels on our skin. We are like sponges for sensation, which can be great when it comes to enjoying ourselves and assessing our area for threat so that we're kept safe. But this can also make us more vulnerable to trauma triggers, which brings me to one of the most common unconscious trauma triggers: scent. Over the years, I've had patients report getting flashbacks or dissociating when in tight or busy spaces, like an elevator or at a work conference, and chalking it up to being around a lot of people that they don't know. And while that may be the case, sometimes when we dig a little deeper, we can find that a perfume or cologne worn by someone in the office or at that event was actually to blame for the upset. Our other senses could be just as guilty for causing these trauma responses when we're out in the world living our life. This could be someone raising their voice at us at work because we're in a heated debate about how to present this thing to our new boss. That small increase in the volume of their voice can cause us to dissociate, lash out, or shut down completely. So check in with yourself after feeling overwhelmed or pushed into a flashback and see if you're able to recall any of the stimuli around you. Like, what song was playing? Who was near me? Did they say something in particular? Any smells come to mind? Body sensations? What was I eating or drinking? Doing this sort of personal research will allow us to be more aware of what's in our environment and potentially causing our trauma response. Another unconscious type of trigger are emotional ones. These are situations where the way we feel or respond triggers our trauma response. It could be someone talking down to us or treating us like a child. That feeling of being lesser than or not as important could trigger us to fight back or leave the situation altogether.
It's really interesting. Could a glimmer just be Happy Gilmore's happy place? You remember Happy Gilmore, the movie? Adam Sandler and Carl Weathers. He was learning, Adam Sandler's learning to be a golfer, and he's being trained by Carl Weathers, one of the great actor Carl Weathers' best comedic roles, Chubbs, where the alligator bit his hand off and he trains. And one of the things that he teaches him is to go to his happy space, right? Where, this is a way of mindfulness to get him to calm down and settle down, because he wasn't really good at putting. He was good at the long ball. He wasn't good at the short ball. So Chubbs taught him, to go to his happy place. Is Glimmer just a new fancy way of reintroducing, the happy place? We've got callers on the line. I want to get them in. Let's get them in based on who's been on the longest. Attila from Houston, Texas. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Uncle Zoda.
Yo, what's happening?
Listen, I've been sitting here listening.
All right. What are your thoughts?
So to start off with what you just said about the happy place, no, I don't think that mindfulness is the same thing as a glimmer, and nor do I think it's wishful thinking. I think those are all three simultaneously, three different things. Mindfulness being the place that you're in prior to the internal shift. I feel like the glimmer is the internal shift. You see what I'm saying? And wishful thinking is really just you having these thoughts of what could be better without any internal action. So it's externally based.
Wow.
That's how I would describe it.
Interesting.
So, yes. So with that being said, Jack made a really good comment in the live. He was saying it's crazy how they, as a narcissist, give the false self all the maturity traits of a normal person, but the real self still hasn't healed really from childhood. And I read that and I'm like, well, child, that's all of us. I mean, that prior to you doing any work, that is exactly where you're at. We have a mass that is mature, that goes to work, that gets paid. And then we have the childish self that shows up in the relationships because, let's be real, our partner has nowhere to go.
Are you telling me, as the wounded child, because you say we're all got to carry that wounded child around, are we secretly trying to date a spiritual parent, someone to give us what we didn't get in childhood?
I definitely have. I don't know who's going to be real tonight, but I know I have.
I don't know who going to be real tonight is the coldest diss ever. I don't know who going to call in and be real tonight. 1-800-920-1580. That's deep. So we're looking for a spiritual adult in our partner so we can lay all of the desires and wants and needs from this wounded child. And what was interesting about that clip, man, you could get transported back to that trauma based on a scent, based on a flavor, food, based on an environment, a location. You can get transported. Unhealed trauma or wounds act as one-way time machines. They only go to the past. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, you know what they call that in the church? That's called the spirit of offense.
Whoa.
So we let our pain
go deep. Come on. Say what?
Yeah. So we let our pain take the spirit of offense, and that becomes our defense. The spirit of offense is our defense. That is the thing that's defending you when you feel like you've been disrespected, whether that's occurred or not. So again, like I said, that wishful thinking is external. The glimmer is internal, and it draws from the light that is within you, even in the face of unlikely odds. So I think that's why it sounds so magical. But you're pulling it from what's already within. That wishful thinking is something based on the external means. That's the peace versus the quiet.
Right.
So my second point, before I get off the song.
We got time.
This is,
I said, Keep going. We got time. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, no, I want to give other people the chance to speak for real. Like, 'cause I feel like I be talking a lot. But my second piece is the observe without judgment. This is why that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm realizing this now in dealing with my own issues with family and just myself, whatever. It's important because it's allowing you to visualize the humanity of your offender. So you don't really have time to take the space of a spirit of offense because you are able to visualize who they were prior to offending you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's important to do because judgment can be normalized in certain cases. If you were abused, it would make sense to say, well, you did this to me, you blah, 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 blah. But I think observing without judgment kind of absolves you of that need to feel that you need to be defended. The other side of this, though, is remaining triggered versus embracing the glimmers, right? Mm-hmm. I think the difference between those two is observing yourself. That is like the defining difference between the two. And that's all I got to say.
That's heavy. The actual quote from the great philosopher Krishnamurti is, the ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence. What happens if we take evaluation out of our intimate relationship process?
Judgment.
We go get right back to judgment, right? Because I made a mistake choosing him when I should have chose him. And I shouldn't have gave him a chance because I was already with him. And then I cut that off to get with him. And,
petty trifles of the ego, child.
Man. But do you understand how big of a piece evaluation has in our modern day relationships? And if your unhealed wounds are doing the evaluating, let me just say, I got to ask you this question before you go. If your unhealed wounds are doing the evaluating, gosh, can those same unhealed wounds, or are you separate from the wounds? Can you still create a glimmer within that environment where these unhealed wounds exist? Are the wounds separate from you, or are you guys one and the same?
I think that when you're in the space, at least I can only speak for myself, in the times that I have been wounded, I wasn't able to understand that I was separate from the wound. It's kind of like, how would I describe this? It's kind of like if you were to see an accident happen in front of you and your mind has tricked you somehow that you were part of the accident, but really you're just the observer and you are convinced that you were in this accident, and they're like, dude, you weren't even a part of it. You've literally associated yourself in an incident that you never were in. And I kind of would, I would equate it to that. I don't think that at the time of being offended, we can make the distinction between who we are as people at the moment and who we are at the time of offense. I think we think that all is one thing. And we don't understand that you can actually move past that space, because I think that the ego doesn't really care about time. So the offense may have occurred 20 years ago. The ego says, no, this is important today.
Let me ask.
So,
keep going. Because I have one more question.
Well, no, I just think that's just how I've experienced myself. Like, in observing myself, there are things that I'm reacting to that occurred 14, 15 years ago.
Ooh.
And it doesn't really make sense because that was 14, 15 years ago. This is today. And so if I'm reacting to a small petty offense based on an upset that happened 14, 15 years ago, my reaction is not proportioned to the situation. And I can't see that until someone points it out. You see what I'm saying?
Right. The mirror of relationship. Now I have the question, can unhealed trauma, childhood trauma, unhealed wounds, unrequited wounds, can they gaslight us?
I know I've gaslit myself.
No, the wound, not the wound itself, the hurt, the pain, the event. Can it gaslight you?
Yes.
to see
like,
things
again,
that
part
aren't
of the
there.
gaslighting is, part of the gaslighting is, but look, you're hurt, and you're like, actually, I'm fine, and the wound is like, nah, but see, look, we hurting. Nah, the wound is hurting. It will convince you that you are hurt. Like, we hurt. We sick, boss? No, we're not.
Don't tell me the wound is we sick, boss. Don't do that. Oh.
It's trying to shuck and drive into getting you to believe that you were hurt currently, and you're not. This is a past event that you have now triggered based on something that happened a long time ago, and you were convinced that the current situation is involving something that it does. Like, it sounds crazy. It's like we are crazy making with ourselves. Like, you know how they talk about narcissists doing the whole crazy making thing and the word salad? We do that stuff to ourselves, which is why when you explain it to someone else, that other person is listening to it like, but girl, that happened 12 years ago. If you got real people around you, they'll tell you, girl, that happened 12 years ago. But I think that the thing about wounds collect people that agree with it. And so chances are the people around you might not be able to spot, right, that
God.
you're literally sitting here harping on something from 12 years ago.
Wait, slow down. Slow down. Wounds collect people that agree with it. This is classic narcissism. Are you saying a wound collects flying monkeys?
I definitely feel so. Yes.
Listen, Atta.
Like we all have that. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. No, finish. We all have what?
Well, no, I was just going to say, we all have that friend that, like, you don't want to go to because you know they're going to tell you the real. Well, we also all have those friends or people that are going to be in your corner no matter what. And so I think it just kind of depends on where you're at in your stage of development. If you're ready to get real, you go to those friends who are going to tell you, bro, that ain't right. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I love it. Attila, guess what you just did?
I brought Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. What'd you say? Oh, Keita from Decatur? Keita from Decatur. What happened to you? And then JT. ATL, JT called in. Where are you? Why y'all hang up? Don't call in and hang up. I want to talk to you. Give me a call. The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. We on fire tonight.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today. If you say you care about the community, you have to also care about the climate. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Should know by the way you popped your car sideways that it wouldn't last. See, you're the kind of person that believes in making out once, love them and leave them fast. Guess I must be dumb. She had a pocket full of horses, Trojan and some of them used. But it was Saturday night. I guess that makes it alright. You see, what have I got to lose? And honey,
Limerence is an all-consuming obsession or infatuation with someone you can't have, kind of an opiate made of unrequited love. Now, you might pine for them, you might pretend you're just friends and hope someday they'll return your feelings, or you might look for hidden meaning in their social media or in their texts. Anything that makes their non-interest in you offer hope that in fact they are interested. So glimmer is the feeling you get when you first recognize this person, kind of sparks that limerence in you. It's powerful, it's intoxicating, and it's a recognition that this person has that magic power to light up your heart and your imagination. It all begins. Everyone feels something like this when they fall in love, but if you have a pattern of limerence, beware. Glimmer is your warning sign that the whole cycle is beginning again, ready to isolate you in fantasy and rob you of actual love. There's still time right then to shut it down.
Wow. That's deep. Listen, this is why I bring these topics. I know they're nuanced. Listen, sometimes our I guess our imagination or escapism is the most effective glimmer we use on ourselves, right? If I can escape this difficult moment. But I think, listen, psychology is moving towards it, I believe. Psychology is moving towards its origins, I believe. More of a spiritual understanding of things. Now, there's always going to be the scientific method, but I think a lot of things are being reframed right now. So, the whole concept of having to move away from something difficult, I think people don't understand that the peace is wherever you are, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen, I just saw The Wiz. Was it Glinda the Good Witch of the West? That's what she told Dorothy. You could have went home at any time. Right? Home is in you. You remember the whole, hey, Andy, can you find that record where Lena Horne is singing If You Believe? Man, she got the little babies as stars, and she's basically explaining to them, it is within you. So many people have lost sight that all resources, all spiritual resources are located within. I don't think a glimmer can happen. Come on, give me some of this. Come on. Come on.
That no one can change the path that you must go. Believe what you feel.
Come on.
And know you're right, because the time will come around when you'll say it's yours. Believe that you can go home. Believe you can float on land.
Come on.
Kick your heels 3 times if you believe. Well, then you'll be there.
Come on. I'm just saying, I know it sounds corny. I know it sounds campy. But that should be a glimmer. The message, the music, the passion in the performance, right? The conviction Lena had in that moment to sell this song to the actress. You know who she was. Miss Ross, the boss, Diana Ross. There was so much passion in those performances, right? But I believe if you can bring those into your relationships where even in difficult times, even in tough times, you can find a moment of gratitude, a moment of appreciation, right? A moment where you can say, yes, this is not exactly what I want it to be. However, I'm 10 steps away from where it started. And if I keep going in this direction, in 5 minutes, I'll be 1,000 steps away from that moment. Do you understand? And when the moment pulls you back to start the journey all over again, because that's what unhealed trauma does, you say, I accept coming back to this place, right? Because what I've learned since I've walked away from this moment has expanded my heart, has expanded my capacity to love, has expanded my capacity to not judge myself or others for that matter. Right? I think this should become a practice where we begin, to start glimmering each other. It's powerful stuff. When we come forward, the voice of reason will continue this bonfire. We on fire tonight!
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Staffers are leaving the campaign for Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. The Republican is now running for governor, but has faced problems since he was called out last week for allegedly referring to himself as a black Nazi and calling himself a perv on an adult film website forum before he entered politics over a decade ago. 4 people who worked on Robinson's campaign staff resigned over the weekend. Robinson says he feels like he is in a strong position. The Chicago contract for ShotSpotter has expired. 24th Ward Alderwoman Monique Scott says she expects that a special city council meeting will be held soon on the matter concerning the gun detection technology. Last week, the city council voted 33-14 to give Black Police Superintendent Larry Snelling power over the contract with ShotSpotter. Mayor Brandon Johnson, who is also black, called the move illegal and said he would veto the legislation. The city council can override the veto with 34 votes. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here's what happens when you advertise on KBLA Talk 1580.
3, possibly 4 weeks ago, I heard an advertisement on your radio station from a company called Grid Solar. I would love to have that phone number so I can reach out to them with reference to solar panels being installed on my property.
Our listeners are aware and engaged, but more than that, they are loyal. When they hear empowering messages that uplift their community and help them live better lives, they respond. No medium reaches this coveted black audience like KBLA Talk 1580. So, hit us up today at smb@kbla1580.com and let us help you connect with our loyal listeners. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Under the bud.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV. Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GS.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
One of the first questions people bring to me when they start to develop their sixth sense is, how can you tell the difference between real intuition and maybe what's just wishful thinking? It's a very good question. The good news is the answer is you can tell the difference because of the way each of those feel in your body. The first, wishful thinking, feels agitated. It doesn't feel steady. It goes up, it goes down. It feels like you're forcing it. It feels kind of wavery. It's not a settled inner thought, an inner sense. Whereas if it's intuition, it feels true. Every cell in your body relaxes. Even if what you're picking up isn't necessarily good news. Even if what you're tuning into isn't something that you want to acknowledge or to receive. It feels as though it clicks and something in your body, and do go back to your body, relaxes. It's very subtle, but it just kind of settles down. Wishful thinking, because it's a faculty of your intellect, bounces around, mixed with the energies of your emotions, which are kind of grabbing and pushing, and so there's no place for the frequency to settle. The other thing about wishful thinking is that it changes. First it'll say one thing, and then it'll kind of shift, and then you'll start hearing something else, and you'll second guess, and you'll wonder, and you won't feel that it's consistent. Whereas if it's intuition, it's the same intuition in the morning, in the night, at lunchtime. It's steady, it's consistent, it doesn't waver. So, of course, these are very subtle signatures to pay attention to, but most people that I've worked with over the years can make that distinction. So if it's wishful thinking, the last clue I wanted to...
So you know what's real deep about this clip? For a lot of men, this is all foreign talk, right? But this is the conduit to self-awareness. This is what mindfulness means. See, a lot of people will throw around these terms, but this is what she's describing is how you go inward. That is the process of inward excavation, right? And yeah, it becomes spirit talk. It becomes, oh, that's that nebulous, strange stuff, man. Keep it simple for me. No, spirituality is nebulous, right? And, self-work and healing work is a spiritual practice. It's not a psychological one. Although a psychologist can help you begin that process, but as you start going deeper and deeper into yourself, you're going to start to reveal aspects of yourself that might even shock you. Glimmers must be cultivated from the inside out. We cannot become addicted to the external source of that. Again, that's attachment. We got callers on the line. Brother Nazarene X from Atlanta, Georgia. Long time no hear. What up, nephew? What's the word?
What up, man? I'm glad to be here listening to that Footloose. Yeah, that co-host got me jumping over here with the little twinkle toes, man.
Now, listen, help me to
I'm glimmery, man.
It sounded glimmery, didn't it? Play a little bit more of it real quick. It sounded it sounded very glimmery. Now, if I'm to understand correctly, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan because he's a younger generation. Was that the brother The Weeknd, right? That's The Weeknd, right?
Man.
To me, it
Hey, bro. West Coast, shout out to K-Dot. You know what time it is. You're going to set the record straight.
No, but let it play a little bit. To me, it sounds like 1980s, video game music. Like when I was in the 80s as a kid, this is what this sounds like. It's like, come on, let's go down to the arcade. Let's go now. See, I'm glimmering right now. This is a moment that feels good to me. Hey, come on. Let's go play Pac-Man and Centipede, and Donkey Kong. Turn it up, Weekend. Let's go.
Hey, man.
This is one of those feel-good moments. We're glimmering in live time. Listen, stay with me, brother. When we come forward. Oh, I got time. No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good, man. Hey, look, we could stay in there. What's that joke called? The DeLorean? Everything kind of has that, that vibe, man. Just go take off on it one time. Ain't no thing.
It was glimmery, bro. It's very glimmery.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now,
what's that?
I mean, we black men in America, right? And we're asked to do a lot. And at the same time, we recoil from a lot of heavy emotional lifting, right? How do we delve into the emotional work that we need to do in order to show up as a functioning, healthy human being in intimate relationships? What's your process, bro? Are you struggling? Just if you're struggling, say so.
And look, one of the things that kind of mine is, everyone find their own way of translating it, but it's like, if you don't have a sense of self that you can live with or like come down to, like, I think that's step one, is like getting grounded within. I like it in those words, just finding a relationship with God first and foremost, because it's almost like, if you're going to release any type of burden, I feel that it's important to have some place of reference to where it went. Because you're still, as you reconnect with yourself emotionally, or you learn to gather your thoughts or gather your wits about yourself, you're going to find that those glimmers, those twinklings, those inklings, and all of those names that we're going to be responding to as we get more glimmery, as we reconnect to our inner child, that giddy feeling.
Wait, you need the Weekend's music behind you right now. Just softly in the background as we get more glimmery. Come on, brother, I'm listening.
Hey, girl, look, I don't want you to do no drugs that I ain't get paid for, okay?
Right.
What I need you to do. I ain't gonna give him no game, but look, man, we here to have fun and realize that as we share our world with one another, we are recognizing ourselves. It's like when we make eye contact. It's almost like that "where did you go" type of feeling when we meet someone for the first time. Like, yo, have we met before?
But let me ask you.
So
this is deep, brother. What you breaking down here? How often do you have moments where you doubt the knowledge of yourself that's coming in, where you go, this isn't me, this isn't who I am, I want to be better than this, I'm not enough? Like, how do you process those feelings of inadequacy?
A lot of times up front, because I'm still listening to the dance and, doing my own two-step as well. Right. That's an ongoing thing, but like at one point, I feel like you get so shook by the discord or the disruption in the rhythm, you want to leave the dance floor, right? But that's, again, shout out to Dr. Nelly Fuller Jr. Like, the difference between music and noise is what it makes you want to do when you hear it.
Right.
So if you're trying to leave and get rid of the dancing, that's one thing, but once you kind of stay in the pocket and listen to feel it through, like, all right, well, this is my two-step, I can't go nowhere, then your dance partner, if you're still looking out, you're going to see who, like, on that same type of time. It's almost like that, the thing with the headphones, and people had like the little silent dance concert thing.
Noise cancellation.
Yeah, it's like people had different songs playing in their little earphones.
Yeah.
Everybody don't got to be dancing. Like, you know what I'm saying, to the same song, but when you look around, something going to make sense. Like, that's how I look at it.
Man, let me just
like I said, I ain't getting paid for all the jazz. It's just, I'm a grown.
Let me just say something, man. I love chopping it up with my nephew, man. All of y'all, my nieces and nephews, man. This is my nephew from Atlanta, Georgia, man. He brought his city in the building. If you want to bring yours in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. When I come forward, of course, Zoe Williams has even more fire to cook up. Let's get it!
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit ca-smp-volunteer.org.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long.
We're unapologetically progressive.
KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Playlist is on fire tonight. Did I mix it up tonight? Woo, that playlist.
What I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion.
We love you, Kobe. Legendary Kobe Bryant, KB24. And you say, well, why would you play that for a relationship show? Because the principle still applies to relationships. Acceptance, right? You know, utilizing glimmers to improve mental health opens pathways for healing and resilience. By consistently and consciously seeking and amplifying these moments, we can create a robust emotional foundation. This proactive approach aligns with insights of Iyanla Van Zandt, who emphasizes the importance of self-love and acceptance in personal transformation. Moreover, glimmers play a pivotal role in healing trauma by focusing on small positive experiences, joy, laughter, fun, touch, whatever it may be. Individuals can gradually rewire their emotional responses, fostering a sense of safety and empowerment. However, a critical question emerges. Are we forever focusing on triggers to avoid confronting our inner turmoil? This propensity to, dilute the seriousness of trauma and contribute to a culture of victimhood, as suggested by thinkers like Dr. Ramani and Noam Chomsky. I think it could be very negative, right? Again, that natural proclivity to move away from that which is uncomfortable sometimes actually sustains those pains. Now, Krishnamurti, he puts it a different way. He's talking about observing without judgment. See, if you can observe without judgment, meaning you look at that wounded child and you say, it's my fault, right? That wounded inner child, you go, it's my fault. I'm responsible for the abuse I experienced. It's my fault, right? I should have did this. Do you see? If you can look at what happened in the past and say, I'm not responsible for someone's response or reaction to me. I'm not responsible for that, right? Do you see? You find a glimmer in it. You know what? Having overcome this childhood trauma, this childhood wound, I've become a more resilient and stronger person, like spiritually, right? Of course, it was uncomfortable and painful at the time in which it happened, but that thing happening was the catalyst for the growth. Now, the difficulty lies in this, it seems to me, in the capacity to observe, to see things as they are, not as we would like them to be or what they should be, but actually what is going on. To so observe has its own discipline, not the discipline of imitation or compulsion or conformity, but that very observation brings its own discipline, not imposed, not conforming to any particular pattern, which implies suppression, but to observe. After all, when you do observe something very closely or listen to somebody very fully, that very listening and seeing, in that is implied attention. And where there is attention, there's discipline. Without being disciplined. If that is clear, the next point is, in observing, there is always the observer. The observer who, with his prejudices, with his conditioning, with his fears and his guilt, and all the rest of it, he is the observer, the censor. And through his eyes he looks, and therefore he is really not looking at all. Imagine your wound. This is your wound he's describing. If that is clear, the next point is observing. Right? In observing, there's always the observer. Right? The observer who, with his prejudices, right? With his conditioning, with his fears and his guilt and all the rest of it. He is the observer, the censor, and through his eyes he looks, and therefore he is not really looking at all. He is merely coming to conclusions based upon his past experiences and knowledge. You can't internally glimmer up, glow up, show up, spiritually grow up until you turn this filter off, looking at the world through the lens of unhealed wounds. Right? He is merely coming to conclusions based upon his past experiences and knowledge. The past experience and conclusions and knowledge prevent actually seeing. And when there is such an observer, what he observes is something different, or something which he has to conquer or to change, and so on and so on. Whereas if the observer is the observed, I think this is a really radical thing to understand. Really, the most important thing to understand is if we are going to discuss anything seriously, that in us, there is this division, this contradiction, the observer and the many fragments which he observes. And so when we say relationship is a mirror, and you get who you are, right? This is coming out of that. If you do not tell that wound that it is loved, it is appreciated, right? It is not condemned, the wound begins to flower. The wound begins to expand. The wound begins to say, you know what, there's a gift in here that's important for you to receive. But if we continue to run, the lessons will continue to get more and more difficult, harder, and they'll keep coming. Let's learn how to glimmer. Let's look for the good things, the positive things. Listen, I started the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. So Williams, the voice of reason, will be back tomorrow with another slapper. Love y'all. Deuces.
Making sure his Lincoln's clean. Lean and chicken never seen. Gangsta bullets, black ups lit.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from